so tasty!
Welcome back, hunters. So I rebranded the channel, but we're still about that Monster Hunter life. Recently, the Monster Hunter community ventured deep into the Forbidden Lands with Monster Hunter Wilds. And many of you, myself included, are firmly planted in the endgame loop. We all know what that means. Endgame mix sets. So with this channel's return to form, here's one of mine that has proven to be incredibly effective despite how challenging set building has been for this entry. Now let's start with a build that I call the Mighty Morphin Frenzied Hunter. So anyone that knows me or has been around the block with me even before the rebrand knows that I like giving my builds a catchy name, especially if it encapsulates what the build is all about. For this one, we're bringing the two Morphin powerhouses with us into the hunt. The Switch Axe, my first love, and the Charge Blade. Now, as I said earlier in this video, set building has changed significantly in Monster Hunter Wilds. But this, I feel, gives us more of a chance to find creative ways to solve the mixed set puzzle. For this one, I'm leaning into two specific armor set bonuses and a group skill that's synergized together brilliantly. So let's get into how it works. This build will be using 2 pieces of Gore Magala armor with 3 pieces of Rey Dau. This grants us both the level 1 versions of Gore Magala's Tyranny and Rey Dau's Voltage, with the former inflicting the hunter with the Frenzy virus, and the latter which increases the uptime of latent power. The 3 pieces of Rey Dau armor, all beta, also come with Lord's Fury. It's a group skill, tied to the beta sets of the Apexes. This gives us the skill Resuscitate, which is changed from being a deco skill to a group skill. Now think of group skills like set bonuses that are, instead of being tied to a monster's armor set, are tied to a group of different armor sets. So you can already see how this works. Upon encountering a large monster, you'll immediately get hit with the Frenzy virus. While Frenzy is active, you get a boost to your attack thanks to Resuscitate. This boost goes away when you overcome the Frenzy, but with almost every monster in the game inflicting some kind of elemental blight, you'll be activating Resuscitate more often than not. Through decos and talismans, we're also factoring Agitator, which is always a solid choice to increase attack and affinity. Now, this build doesn't have much going for it when it comes to stable crit. The positive affinity we get is situational across the board, so that's why I opted for the Switch Axe and the Charge Blade, since both weapons traditionally feature explosive file damage, which doesn't require a lot of affinity to be effective. These two weapon classes don't face as much of a detriment to low affinity as, say, a greatsword or a hammer. While latent power isn't active, I generally focus on dealing out heavy file damage as a major source of DPS. Element discharges, SAEDs, you know the like. They give reliable damage output no matter how much affinity you have. And since the file explosions don't crit, it doesn't matter if you have Wex or anything like that on it. Now this means being smart with managing my file energy on the Switch Axe to ensure amp state uptime, and also using AEDs and SAEDs with the Charge Blade. Now when latent power hits, all of a sudden this build becomes one that performs even better, with a 50% boost to affinity on top of the 30% boost that comes from overcoming Frenzy and having Agitator active. Every attack is going to hit 80% base affinity without relying on hitting weak spots or wounds. I've opted out of using Weakness Exploit this time, since Wex hasn't really felt as impactful in Wilds as it was in previous entries. And that's fine, honestly. I like that meta builds are going to need to be more creative going forward. So now let's get into what we'll be running. And for those of you who sat through my explanation, just let me ramble on. Thank you for sticking it out. I appreciate it. But we all know this is what you came to the video for, so let's go ahead and get into it. We're running beta Rey Dau gear on the head, arms, and waist. The chest comes from Gore Magala, it's the alpha piece, with the beta on the legs. Our charm is going to be the Challenger Charm 2, rounding out the equipment. For armor decorations, I have 3 Challenger decos, 2 Throttle, and 1 each of Shockproofed, Sane, and Steadfast. For the weapons, I opted for Ardian weapons running Paralysis, but honestly this build works for any element type or raw. Ardians aren't totally required for the build though, so if RNG has been unkind, I'm going to share a few monster part alternatives that you can also run. As a disclaimer, if you're watching this video you're going to notice that I'm not using Ardian weapons, or at least it doesn't look like I'm using Ardian weapons. And that's because I'm running a layered weapon mod to change the look of my weapons. Honestly, I'm 100% confused why they didn't include layered weapons at the start. I know it's a purely cosmetic thing, but I do feel a lot better when my weapons look kind of cool, and those Ardian weapons are just god-awful. But anyways, with weapon decos, I'm going to leave that up to your personal tastes. But for me, I'm running Quick Switch Handicraft, Attack 3, and Critical 3 on my Switch Axe, with Quick Switch Iron Wall, Artillery 3, and Magazine Handicraft in the Charge Blade. With the luck of the draw, it's going to be tough to get a good roll in the Ardian Reinforcement. For mine, I got 3 attack, 1 element, and 1 sharpness with the Switch Axe, and 4 attack, 1 sharpness on the Charge Blade. As for monster part alternatives, you could just go for Lullaby Arena if you want to play into Paralysis, but I do have a few more detailed suggestions of non-Ardian weapons you can run. For the Switch Axe, I suggest running Arcveld for the High Rod, despite focus being largely unimportant for the build. You may have to make some concessions on attack skills, like dropping either crit boost or attack boost. I would not recommend getting rid of Rapid Morph though. I feel like Rapid Morph is a required skill for Switch Axe play. The caveat of running the Arcveld Switch Axe is that it also features an elemental file rather than the power files I generally favor. Now if you want to keep the power file, one I suggest going for would be the Rathalos Switch Axe. This one comes with Crit Boost 3 built in, so aside from lower raw, you won't have to make that many concessions with the skills. You'd still be able to run Rapid Morph 3 and Attack 3 on this one, and I feel would be the most similar to running the Ardian Switch Axe. A third contender would be New Udra's Switch Axe. With 220 base raw and also equipped with the power file, you'll have to contend with the negative 15% affinity, but this one does end up becoming a moot point once you overcome the Frenzy. It also comes complete with Rapid Morph 3, giving you the ability to still run the same skills as the Ardian version without making too many concessions. Though if the negative affinity is a concern, you could try slotting Critical Eye, but personally I wouldn't suggest it. For Charge Blades, the Arcveld Charge Blade actually is a solid contender. Using impact files and comes with 3 levels of guard and a hefty base raw, this one still shreds even if the monster isn't weak to dragon. You'll still be able to fit in load shells fairly easily, though you will end up having to make a concession or two on whether you run Rapid Morph or Artillery. Personally, I feel like the more important skill would be Artillery, but it's up to your playstyle. Another exceptional choice would be the Gore Magala Charge Blade. You will once again have to give up on Rapid Morph in order to get both Artillery and load shells, but with an additional 20% affinity and a hefty amount of white sharpness, the 210 base raw, this one could be a winner for you. As for one that will allow you to run Rapid Morph, load shells, and Artillery, the Ore Tree Charge Blade, the Regus Hyper, fits that description perfectly. 220 base raw, lots of white sharpness, comes with Rapid Morph built in, and the weapon's 3-2-1 deco slots will allow you to get similar skills back as well. And so with that, thanks for checking out the first video in my new Monster Hunter Wilds Mix Set series. I do plan to get a few more of these out, so please consider subscribing to the channel for more. If you like the video and dig the content, I'd love to see you interact with me live on Twitch. All the links are going to be down below. I do stream several times a week on I'm not the best with schedules, so you're going to have to bear with me on that. And as a bonus, if you did like the layered armor set that I am running on this video, I have it up on the screen right now if you want to replicate it yourself. But with that, I'll catch you next time. But until then, y'all stay frosty hunters and get lifted. I'll catch you next time in the Forbidden Lands.